Hey everybody, welcome to Tea Time with Amy and Bev. What's happening, girl?
There's always stuff happening.
Seriously,
Always.
all the time. We just um are keeping we're Bev and I have plans coming up that we are not going to be available to do videos together. Um she's got an amazing trip coming up. I have a trip coming up, so timing for us is not going to be in alignment over the next couple of weeks. So we are doing a few short videos pre-recorded. We pre-record and then post them out there. So if you watched another video, we're wearing the same exact thing. It's because we are. All right. Same day, different videos because we have to work around our schedules, which is actually a lot of fun because I'm excited to be able to come back together and have conversations about what we've experienced in what we have coming up. So, I would like to talk about um, using your voice and confidence because this is something that has showed up a couple times this week, and one scenario has been kind of in my brain every day since it's happened. But another one, the fact that I used my voice, which is huge for me, especially in the dynamics and with the people I did it with. So, you get that little, oh my God, did I just say that? And that nervousness of, oh my God, how are they going to react type of thing. But then also realizing I don't give a fuck. Like I'm just kind of at that point that all these people use their voice in ways that they want to be boisterous and they want to make their point by raising their voice or being very um,
It's all controlling and manipulative, really.
aggressive. Yeah, aggressive in the way they say it.
Yeah.
And me being able in those situations to use my voice and say, this isn't okay. Because just for understanding of the audience, in my history, lack of self confidence, lack of self esteem, not using my voice, which created other issues in my life, and being people's doormats and all the things, which none of it was okay, but it was something I'm going to say because I believe in things happen for a reason that I went through those lessons of life so I could be where I am today. And at my age of 54, to be able to use my voice and not give a fuck is like huge, like so huge. So, how do you feel about that? How does that show up for you? And then I can share stories if we have the time. So,
I'm in the same space. I'm in the same space that you are. And I'm sitting here thinking that we're both 54, and I'm thinking 54, 9, we're at completions of things. We're at final, finalities, and it's a different space to be in this place where we're at right now, I feel like. And I don't know that it's so much an age thing beyond a number thing. Do you know what I mean? When we talk about numerology and stuff, and it's looking at the number 9 and stuff, and what does that mean? Jim passed away when he was 54, so that was his, like, peace out. I'll see you guys later. Bev, you got this. You're gonna go through a lot of stuff right now, and you're gonna grow, and you're gonna evolve from the space. So 54 is kind of sat with me kind of quite a bit actually this year. So it's really, I am gaining more confidence. It's confidence outside with people, but it's confidence within self. Because even still, let's say when I first started group, I would leave there feeling like shit because I'm like, fuck, I shouldn't have said that, and I shouldn't have said that, and I said the F word, and I shouldn't have done that. All these shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and it's like I would sit and beat myself up. Old patterns, right? That was the way that I knew. That was my autopilot. And it's like I've trained myself away from all that stuff, but in the process of all that, I'm gaining more confidence that it's okay for us to stand up for ourselves. And it's like you don't realize it's okay because it kind of sucks, but when we're children, we're not given the choice. A lot of times, not most kids are not given the choice to have a decision. to be able to make a decision, to have a choice, because they're being told what they've got to do in this moment. Well, you've got to get ready right now. We're leaving right now. I'm leaving. I'll see you later. I'm just going to leave you here. There's all these things, and that goes to the part of the conversation you're talking about. That's manipulation. That's bullying. That's like all these things, but we don't realize we're doing a lot of these things because we were trained by people. They gave us these tools. We put them in our tool bag, our bag or box or whatever you have, your toy box. And it's like we had them all in that space, and that's what we knew until we start exploring more. And I remember thinking, my voice, I'm getting so loud. I remember thinking that I know how to do this. And it's like, and no one could tell me how to raise my kids or anything. And I can tell you right now, I wish I had listened a little bit more, not just to the people, but to the kids.
Yeah.
I wish I would have listened through this vessel, which we talked about in the last video. It's listening through all of us, not just the ears or the eyes or anything. It's just listening through everything. When someone says something, and you know this, I used to always I would have to sit and think about, oh, she said something, and I got a response right now. I got to answer. I got to say something. And I'm not in that space anymore. And the more that I'm not, the more that you hear, the more that you feel. I don't have to do massage to pick up information from somebody, but massage was one way for me to slow down enough so I could receive the information. So I would shut up and listen and receive the information. And now I'm learning to do that even more without doing all that, the beating up of myself, having that confidence to stand in my power and to kind of flex those muscles. You talked about in the last video about gifts, and we do use gifts a lot, but it's like it's not something that's outside of us. It's something that's within inside of us. We have it all the time. And then what came into my mind is a library. We've got this huge library within inside of us, and each book has information that we already have within inside of us. We can call them gifts. We can call them whatever we want to, but it's something we already have. And it's like, do you want to read this book? Do you want to grab the workbook and learn some more information about this? Because like you said, we all have these abilities. Every single person, there is nothing that's different from all of us. We all have these capabilities. Some decided they were going to come in with the information already there, which didn't always make their life journey easier. And so now we have the opportunity to take an easier path on it, really, because we've had the experience of life here on planet Earth. And now we have the experience of, I'm going to grab this book and this book and this book and start reading them. And the thing is, we don't even have to read them. Just by acknowledging that we've grabbed that book, that intention, we're already opening that up within inside of us like a flower. Like all these amazing things are happening for us all the time. All it has to do is be curious, have a curiosity. I had to grab the confidence book, and I will probably have to look at that a couple of different times because it's just it's a different feeling universe, right? It's not the same thing that I grew up with because I didn't have confidence. Oh my God, I never had confidence. I haven't. I'm 54 years old and I'm gaining confidence only now.
Thank you, Bev. Welcome to the group.
It's true.
In learning confidence, and I remember this because I mean, in my history with all the anger I had and everything, man, I was bitchy. Like I was a bitch, seriously. And I didn't say things very nicely. So in learning to navigate confidence, of course, that was all a mask, right? No, it wasn't a confidence mask. It was, this is my survival mask.
Yes.
Very, very different. When I was learning to use my voice, wasn't so good about expressing myself because it was something new. Again, it's just another muscle we got to utilize, we got to practice, we got to recognize, you know what, I said it this way, it still came out harshly and bitchy, and I didn't mean for it to come across that way, but I'm learning. I mean, I had to give myself some ease and grace so many times after a conversation, and the same thing, the shoulda, coulda, woulda, man, I shouldn't have said it that way, man, boy, was that, I can't even imagine what my face looked like when I said that.
Oh God, we won't even go there. Jesus.
So, and even in this past week, there was a couple situations where one, when I think about it, what I said was legitimately oh, from my perspective, it was okay to say. However, the body language, which was my face, kind of put more of that bitchy tone to it,
I'll say sassy.
if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, we need to be aware of our facial expressions when we're saying things. Because yeah, I can be like, and I mean, that type of body language, you're just like, bitch, back off, right? Um, so just recognizing I'm still practicing. There's still and if I notice too, it depends on the person I'm talking to, because I still am navigating, learning to be in my confidence around people who I'm going to use the words like above me, meaning more educated. They very confident. They know how to stand in their power, and I am still learning to navigate that. So feeling like I need to put on that mask that I am used to from my programming from my past, so that to come across in a way that they understand you're not going to fuck with me, but it's not in a graceful manner, if that makes sense. If I'm trying to explain that so people understand the difference.
It makes perfect sense to me.
So, um, so yeah, so it's been interesting. And then just last night, something happened, and we were in an environment where it's supposed to be a fun and playful environment. And two people were having a conversation that was about something else, and not a conversation to be having in the mix of the people that were present. And they kept talking. And I said, this is not a place for this conversation. You need to take it out of this room. And they both looked at me, and I looked at them, and they start talking. I said, this is not the place for this conversation. And then they stopped. I mean, I was like standing in, you need to go somewhere else. You need to fucking leave. Like, I didn't say it that way, but I was bringing that message across that stop right now type of thing. And that might come across controlling, but for the environment that we were in, and for something that we've been building up for past like 4 months, don't bring that energy in this room with that. I was just like, no. So I felt very good about that.
Good.
Even the people that I was talking to, because they are of status with positions with my employment. They are in status with their positions in the public. And I'm like, this is not acceptable. And they knew it. And yeah. I was okay with it because I felt it in my body, spirit, even spirit's like, you need to stop this now. It wasn't me trying to control that. It was me saying, not here, not now. If you need to do it, you need to go.
Yeah.
So
nice. And did it twice. So that's awesome. And you should be proud of yourself. Honestly, that's something to be proud of. It really is. It's evolution right there.
Yeah.
It really is. And to be able to not only say it one time, but to say it again the second time. Because what happens to us when we don't have that confidence in the first time we say it, because we know that that's what we're supposed to say, but we don't have that energy to back it up, or we're a little shaky or whatever. You have the confidence to speak up again and more firm to let them know this is not the place. Like this is not the place. And sometimes, hey, we've all been there. We've gotten caught in the heat of the moment and got wrapped up in stuff. But it's like it's recognizing that this is an opportunity for us to go ahead and stop this right now, or hey, we should go talk about this outside, or not outside like to go box each other, but go talk about it in a different environment would probably be a better way to say it. Because that's growth. That's not something that would have happened before. Because maybe before you'd be like, listen here, motherfuckers, it's time for you guys to get out. You guys are stirring up a bunch of shit and it's not our shit. You know, it could have came across so different and it didn't, because it didn't have to.
Yeah.
It
Well,
didn't have to.
and then that could bring my energy down. And all of it affects the environment. All of it
Yes.
affects the people who are showing up to have a good time. And then if they feel that energy, it's not even hearing the conversation, even though I know that some of the people heard the conversation, that the energy that was being brought into this room by two people and then me contributing to it from my standpoint, the energy shifts. And when the energy shifts, the people that start coming in, now I'm talking like 40 people are in this room,
Oh.
people are starting to come in, you can tell, like some people coming in with kind of a gruff look, some people kind of being you know, and I'm like, this got to change. This energy has got to change. It's got to change right now.
And it changes from you because
Yeah.
you
Oh,
changed it.
yeah. So
So that's what I mean for anybody else out there is listening. It starts from right here, from you.
yeah,
All of it starts from you.
yeah,
Because otherwise that could have turned into a freaking mob mentality, really.
yeah. And you know, and when you're coming into an environment to have a good time on a Friday night, to relax, enjoy yourself, be with your friends or your family, and then you come into a room and this conversation's happening, or you feel this energy, and it's the energy that's
It,
huge. People
it is.
feel that energy when they come into a room, and they might be up here, and that it will or could, not will, but it could, if they allow it, bring them down into uh not feel good energy and then sit there for the next 3.5 hours. We no, it's not okay.
And the interesting thing is too, is just what if you were sitting back, anybody that was a witness to all this, to sit back and just kind of watch, like you said, some people were coming in were this energy, some people were coming in this energy, and they're going to come in where they're at, and they're going to meet whoever else is in there with that energy. So
Yeah,
it's up to each individual to be like, I'm going to stay in this space, and it's going to go higher. I'm calling on the angels, like whatever you got to do to raise that frequency, because we can do. That's how powerful we are, and it
yeah,
only takes one person.
right.
It took you. It only takes one person to have an effect on everybody, and that or two people that with that energy of a clash, that now you have clashing personalities and attitudes and stuff, because now whatever they've experienced in their daytime is now matching the energy that they came into, and it doesn't have to be that way, because it when you're watching everybody, you can recognize everything, and then you can recognize the shift, and the shift can go either way, right?
Yeah,
The shit could feel good or it cannot feel good. I prefer the feel good. Let's go for the feel good. Sometimes we're not in the not feel good, and we want to stay there for a little bit. So you kind of want to bring more to the party. So
yeah,
it's just being aware of. It's just we've been really talking about awareness. Really, you're really paying attention to yourself, and then we're giving you guys a bunch of tools to kind of look at things using this vessel, using your whole being as a navigational tools throughout all of this. Honestly, because you're giving out valuable information for them to process, because we've all been in those experiences, whether it's a small group, whether it's the family you just walked into the room with, or whatever. You always know.
and I felt like it was, and I just remembered this because I thought about it after I had said that and I walked away. um I felt like that mother hen, like these are my people and I'm protecting them, and you need to shut the fuck up and get out, right? It was like, I have this room full of people and I'm going like pull my feathers out and protect them, and let you know this isn't okay to be this way in this room. And I remember that because I kind of felt that way in the middle of the conversation. Like my energy, and I am responsible for all these people, even though I know that's not true on another level, but that protecting the energy of that room, which felt good. Like, hey, these people
That's
want to
awesome.
feel you. Get out.
We don't, and it had nothing to do with the people, like you said. It had to do with the energy. It just had to do with the energy. We just didn't want that energy in that space, and that's all. So awesome.
So, I mean, and then, and you can, when we're talking about this, it's just similar. You could walk into a room where there are people in the room and nobody's talking to each other, but man, can you feel that heaviness? So you
Yeah.
know that there was some kind of confrontation, argument, harsh words, or just people just being mad at each other, not even talking, but just being mad at each other. That's what they say, you know, you can cut the air with a knife. Like you could just feel that tension. That's what I was attempting to avoid for this room of people so that they weren't feeling that and to shift that as quickly as possible. So
Nice.
uh,
That's
crazy.
awesome.
But the whole idea, you know, is coming back around to listen, if you're learning to use your voice, just keep practicing. It's gonna be messy. It's gonna be comical sometimes. There's sometimes that I've walked away from things I'm like, just shake my head at myself and laugh at myself, just like, I can't believe you just did that.
Just a bunch of opportunities.
And we always
I mean,
have them.
really. Yeah. Yeah, they're always going to be around, just seeing where you're at. And you know where you're at by how you feel.
And then you could, you know, you could have the opportunity to practice like with Bev and I. You might see us out and about. You might say something, we might be in a similar or same conversation. You say something where people like us would kind of understand. You're not even really knowing anything about you, actually, but we would understand because we're listening to our intuition and we know enough about ourselves that when other people are expressing themselves in certain ways, like we can just take a breath and go, first of all, I've been there, right? I've been there where you're at. I've had that attitude. I've had those words. I've had those thoughts. I've had those. I get where you're coming from. But for me to understand you a little better, it's up to me to ask you questions instead of getting defensive right away. It's a let me understand this a little more so that I'm not getting drawn into your energy and matching you, which is my responsibility. My energy is my responsibility. And so it would be up to me to say, okay, hold on. Let me just take a breath here before I suck into your level of energy and ask the questions like, let me understand this a little better. Right. And so I feel like Bev and I are more in that space because we understand ourselves more. And that's this, I mean, I'm saying this because this is where a lot of misunderstandings come from, is because we don't understand ourselves. We're not taking the time to get to know ourselves. We're not taking the time to get to heal. We're not taking the time to practice confidence and learn to use our voice. We stay stuck in our victim mentality, and then we step into conversations with other people, and because they're showing up in the same way and you're showing up in your way, and then it just creates more confrontation and arguments and all the things because nobody's taking the time, first of all, to understand themselves, and second, to understand each other. We just dive in and defensive and gotta argue our points, and then things escalate. And if it really comes down to understanding yourself and how you're showing up in the world.
Yeah. Because if you catch yourself being defensive, then you understand that you're probably interpreting everything from a defensive standpoint.
Yeah.
So you're not processing any of this stuff. And that's what I have done. I had done forever, honestly, for as far as I can remember, probably since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
So it was probably always there, but then recognizing it's like I've been talking to what that defensiveness that we're talking about. I've been talking to God and whatever I feel like whatever word I use at the time that I'm communicating, that I don't like the way that I'm feeling. I don't want to feel like this anymore. And how do I move beyond this? How do I purge this? How do I love this? Whatever comes to you. And it's like, really, you don't know what's going to come to you. It's like another thing that I can grab a hold of right then is every time we second guess ourselves, we catch ourselves asking questions and then we start getting confused a lot more. I do that. I've done that with inside too. So if I'm doing that constantly, then I know that I don't know myself. I'm not familiar with myself. I have no idea why I'm interpreting these things the way that I'm interpreting them. Why do I feel these ways? All these things, and you're not going to know until you start getting to know yourself. And you had said that a long time ago, and it kind of awakened something in me like, oh yeah, I'd like to get to know myself. It maybe didn't go down exactly like that, but it was around, it created a wanting within inside of me that I didn't know that I ever had a desire for. And then as you start to do this, you start recognizing, you used to always say nuggets, all these nuggets that kind of come forward. And it's like how you set yourself so free from all this stuff. Right now, I don't know what's going on, but I'm getting like a weird, a sensation on this side. It's almost like as if I was getting goosebumps inside my brain or something. I don't know. There's something going on. So
Yeah,
I'm just telling you what's happening right now. But it's fascinating when we start paying attention to all this stuff. And see, what I just pointed out just now is not something I would have recognized before because I didn't allow myself to even pay attention to myself. I didn't allow myself to recognize myself. I didn't allow myself to listen to the words that I say that are coming out of my mouth. It's not for someone else to hear, it's for me to hear. What am I saying? How am I saying it? Am I saying from a space of love? Well, back then I couldn't have said it from a space of love because I didn't know what love felt like because I didn't love myself. And I am loving myself more and more every day. I am not perfect in that at all by any stretch of the means because every once in a while I get caught up in the body. But, it is, I'm also fascinated where I've gotten to as far as the goals that I've always had, my life revolved around the gym. It does not revolve around the gym anymore. I think I've seen the gym like a couple times in the last few months. Just saying. But this is refreshing. We're talking about since 2000, probably since 2000 or 1999. That's how long I've been doing it. And so for me to step aside, it's like I'm letting go of the old stuff that I was holding on to and keeping me in a space to get to this point right now. Does it mean I'm not ever going to work out again? No, it doesn't mean that. It means that I'm shedding all the other stuff because I was using it all for different reasons and I don't need it for those reasons anymore. So now it's like I'm just doing things. My working out or my stuff might be running. I'm playing tag with the kids and I have to be kind of sharp. I have to be able to move pretty quick because my oldest grandson is pretty fast. Like he's fast. So I have to turn it up just to get away from him, which is an awesome thing. And I've been feeling better and better. So it's like do kids go and work out? No, they don't. Not typically. They run around constantly. They're doing things all the time. And it goes back to being crawling around on the floor and all that stuff. You're building up all these muscles that's stimulating your bowels, your intestines, your core, your everything. You're using everything from a different perspective. And it's like we're talking about all this stuff in the last video, and I'm thinking, I think after I get off the phone, off the line, I'm gonna probably crawl around the floor for a while. Why not? You know what I mean? It's why not? But
yeah,
it's just we're all growing and learning, and it's paying attention to everybody how we're evolving, and it's like it's awesome because we know we've gone through a lot of stuff, so we can look back and love someone anyways because they're going through the stuff right now, and it's okay. It's okay. And we still get wrapped up in it sometimes, but not like before because when you're paying attention, when you have awareness, you're paying attention to how you feel, and it's like you just don't kind of hang out in those areas very long. It's almost like I would use the hot stove analogy, right? It's as soon as you get close to it, you start feeling the heat, and you're like, I don't really like it like that. Unless you're cold, and you want to get a little bit closer and warm those hands up. But usually, it's like, no, that doesn't feel good, and we're more aware of that than we would have been before.
yeah. That's awesome. We've covered a lot of stuff in this video, even though it's a short one. And so I'd recommend that you go back and listen and just know we always, every day, have plenty of opportunity to practice a lot of this stuff. Okay, all of this stuff.
Every day.
Every single day. So just ease and grace. I like to use those words because we do need to have ease and grace for ourselves as we're learning something new, learning to stand in our power, have our confidence, use our voice, listen to our intuition, listen to our navigation system. It takes practice. And the more you practice, the better you get. And so here I am, 30 years later into my 20 years later into my healing process and reprogramming process, and still practicing and still, tripping and falling sometimes. And it's okay. It's okay. As long as I'm okay with that within myself, it's okay. So keep practicing. That's what I encourage you to do. Keep practicing and have these conversations with other people. plant the seeds, share the content, share the videos, send them the links, whatever you feel like other people could use out of, whether it's our videos or content that's similar, that's resonating with you. We know there's lots of people on the planet that could benefit from this information. So please take the time to share it. We're in Facebook, YouTube, Spreaker, Google Podcasts, Podcast Addict, iHeartRadio. We're on multiple platforms, so it's pretty easy to find us. Leave comments and questions. We come back to that at our earliest convenience. We are not Johnny on the spot. We are not going to respond within an hour or 2 hours. It might be 12 hours. It might be 24 hours. It's okay. Just post it. We'll come back to you. It's okay. So, any final words, Miss Bev?
Second guessing yourself holds you in a stuck place. So start embracing and knowing that you're making the right decisions in every moment. And if it wasn't the right decision, it was a navigational decision. It was a decision that you helped learn more about yourself and more about those gifts or those books that you have within inside of you.
Nice. I love it. All right, my friends, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Tea time with Amy and Bev, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.